A numberful Wednesday, kids! Join me as we learn how to count, solve, and enjoy math. This is Teacher Tin, and welcome to our class. Today we're going to find tips and hacks on how to multiply and divide three-digit numbers. Yes, you heard me right. Three-digit numbers. Are you ready to learn? Come on, let's begin our numberful journey. As we perform these basic operations, we will answer these three questions. First, how do we multiply and divide three-digit numbers? Second, what should we remember in multiplying and dividing three-digit numbers? And lastly, why do we need to learn how to multiply and divide? Excited to answer these questions? Let's begin. Multiplication and division are two of the four fundamental operations on numbers. When we multiply, we simply do repeated addition. It means that we take one number and add it together a number of times, such as 3 times 4 now becomes great. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is equal to 12. And when we divide, we do repeated subtraction, which means we break up a number into an equal number of parts like this. 9 divided by 3 is very good. 9 minus 3 equals 6. 6 minus 3 equals 3. 3 minus 3 equals 0. Can you count how many trees have been subtracted? Correct. That means there are 3 trees in 9.
Now, let's try multiplying two-digit numbers. When we multiply 42 and 24, we will follow these steps. Step 1. Multiply the ones digit of the multiplier with all the digits of the multiplicand. Regroup if necessary. Step 2. Multiply the tens digit of the multiplier with all the digits of the multiplicand. Regroup if necessary. Step 3. Add the partial products. After doing these steps, we'll get the product, which is 1008. Good job! How about dividing two-digit numbers? Can you try dividing 5 from 85? In dividing two-digit numbers by a one-digit divisor, we follow these steps. Step 1. We write the dividend inside the division symbol and the divisor on the left outside the symbol. Step 2. Divide the first digit by the divisor. If the number in the first digit is less than the divisor, include the next digit before dividing the number by the divisor. Write the quotient on top aligned with the digit that you divided. Step 3. Multiply the quotient to the divisor, then subtract. Step 4. Bring down the next digit one at a time, then repeat steps 2 and 3 until you reach the last digit of the dividend. Step 5. Check the quotient using multiplication. Now, what's the quotient? All right, it's 17.
Knowing how to perform multiplication and division on whole numbers allows you to work with numbers as used in daily life, such as applications on money and measurements, as well as solving problems involving numbers. Let's recall more about multiplication. When do you think we usually use this? Correct. We use this in finding the total number of items in equal groups.
Now, repeat after me as I read each word that describes or implies multiplication. Twice, times, groups of, per, double, each, equal groups, multiply, all together.
Awesome! You did great! How about the parts of a multiplication sentence? Let's review some more.
The number taken or multiplied is called the multiplicand, while the number denoting how many times the multiplicand is taken is called the multiplier. And the answer in multiplication is called a product.
Just like we did earlier, we are going to try multiplying three-digit numbers with these four simple steps. Step 1. Multiply the multiplicand by the ones place of the multiplier. Step 2. Multiply the multiplicand by the tens place of the multiplier. Step 3. Multiply the multiplicand by the hundreds place of the multiplier. Step 4. Lastly, we now add the partial products. Ready to try it? Okay, I'm excited too. Let's find the product of 638 and 715.
For step 1, we will multiply the ones digit of the multiplier, which is 5, with all the digits of the multiplicand, then regroup if necessary. 5 times 8 is 40. Now we write 0 in the ones column and carry 4 in the tens place. 5 times 3 is 15. Now we need to add 4, so that gives us 19. We write 9 in the tens column and carry 1 in the hundreds place. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 1, we have 31. What do we get? Awesome! Our partial product is 3,190. For step 2, multiply the tens digit of the multiplier, which is 1, with all the digits of the multiplicand, then regroup if necessary. Since we are now multiplying the multiplicand by the tens digit of the multiplier, we will write our answer in the tens column. We add 0 in the ones place because we are multiplying 10, not just 1. 1 times 8 equals 8. 1 times 3 equals 3. 1 times 6 equals 6. What do we get when we multiply 638 by 10? Fantastic! The answer is 6,380. For step 3, multiply the hundreds digit of the multiplier, which is 7, with all the digits of the multiplicand, then regroup if necessary. Now, since we are now multiplying the multiplicand by the hundreds digit of the multiplier, we will write our answer in the hundreds column. We will also add 0 in the ones and tens place because we are multiplying 700 and not just 7. 7 times 8 equals 56. We write 6 in the hundreds column and carry 5 in the tens digit of the multiplicand. 7 times 3 equals 21 plus 5 equals 26. We write 6 in the thousands column and carry 2 in the hundreds digit of the multiplicand. 7 times 6 equals 42 plus 2 equals 44. What do we get when we multiply 638 by 700? Great! The answer is 446,600. Lastly, for the fourth step, let's add the partial products. Let's add the digits in the ones place first. We have 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 0. Then, we move to the tens place. 9 plus 8 equals 17 plus 0, we have 17. Now we write 7 in the tens column and carry 1 in the hundreds place. 1 plus 1 equals 2 plus 3 equals 5 plus 6 equals 11. Again, we write 1 in the hundreds column and carry 1 in the thousands place. 1 plus 3 equals 4 plus 6 equals 10 plus 6 equals 16. Let's write 6 in the thousands column and carry 1 in the 10,000s place. 1 plus 4 equals 5. Lastly, we simply bring down 4. What is the sum of 3,190, 6,380, and 446,600? Good job! The final answer is 456,170.
Were you able to get all of that? Don't worry, kids. I am here to help you. This time I will share with you some tips and hacks in multiplying three-digit numbers. Let's start. Tip number 1 in multiplication. If you're having a hard time with long multiplication, one idea is to encircle the number that you have already used. This time, you won't accidentally use them again. Just like what we did in finding the product of 469 and 32.
Good job! The correct answer is 15,008.
Tip number 2 in multiplication. Look at the image beside me. What do you call this box with squares and diagonals? Great! We call this a lattice. The lattice method is an alternative way to do multiplication. This method helps organize the process of long multiplication into smaller steps. It can be complicated at first, but with practice, you can find that multiplying with large numbers can be fun. Ready to try it? Let's get the product of 365 and 87.
For step 1, write the multiplicand 365 above the lattice. Then, write the multiplier 87 on the right side of the lattice. For step 2, multiply the second factor by the first factor. Write each answer inside the square where the digits being multiplied meet. Place the tens place on the upper part of the diagonal and the ones place on the lower part of the diagonal. 5 times 8 equals 40. 6 times 8 equals 48. 3 times 8 equals 24. 5 times 7 equals 35. 6 times 7 equals 42. 3 times 7 equals 21. And for step 3, add the numbers along each diagonal starting from the right. If the total along a diagonal is a 2-digit number, write the ones digit as is, then write and add the tens digit to the sum of the next diagonal. Starting from the right, let's write 5. Then 0 plus 3 plus 2 equals 5. Next is 4 plus 8 plus 4 plus 1 equals 17. Take note that 17 is a 2-digit number, so write 7 as is. Then write and add the 1 to the sum of the next diagonal. Followed by 1 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2 equals 11. Write 1 as is. Then write and add the other 1 to the next diagonal. Lastly, 1 plus 2 equals 3. The final answer is read from the top left to the bottom right of the lattice. So, 365 times 87 equals 31,755. And for the last tip,
Tip number 3 in multiplication. If the numbers are too big for you to multiply, you can break them apart and add the two products. Let's break 14 into 10 and 4, then multiply.
after multiplying 415 by 10 and by 4, we will get 4,150 and 1,660 respectively. Then, we will add these two partial products to get the final answer, which is... Awesome! It's 5,810.
That was fun! But wait, kids, there's more. How about division? Let's recall more about division. When do you think we usually use this? Very good. We use this when splitting into equal parts or groups.
Now, repeat after me as I read each word that describes or implies division. Divide, each, between, cut up, share, half, how many in each, divided by.
Awesome! You did great! How about the parts of a division sentence? Let's review some more.
The number you are dividing up is called the dividend, while the number you are dividing by is called the divisor. And the answer in division is called the quotient.
When dividing numbers by a two-digit divisor, these are the steps to follow. Step 1. We write the dividend inside the division symbol and the divisor on the left side outside the symbol. Step 2. Divide the first two digits by the divisor. If the numbers in the first two digits is less than the divisor, include the next digit before dividing the number by the divisor. Write the quotient on top aligned with the digit that you divided. Step 3. Multiply the quotient to the divisor, then subtract. Step 4. Bring down the next digit one at a time, then repeat steps 2 and 3 until you reach the last digit of the dividend. Step 5. Check the quotient using multiplication. Ready to try it? Alright, let's try to find the quotient of 192 and 12.
For step 1, rewrite the given using the long division symbol. 192 is inside, while 12 is outside. For step 2, divide the tens, multiply and subtract. Divide 19 divided by 12 equals 1. Put 1 in the quotient over the tens place. Multiply 1 times 12 equals 12. Subtract 19 minus 12 equals 7. For step 3, we will move to the next digit, so we bring down 2. Divide 72 divided by 12 equals 6. Put 6 in the quotient over the ones place. Multiply 6 times 12 equals 72. Subtract 72 minus 72 equals 0. That means we have no remainder. And for step 4, check the quotient using multiplication. We are correct. The quotient of 192 and 12 is 16.
Were you able to get all of that? This time I will share with you some tips and hacks in dividing 3-digit numbers easily. Let's start. Tip number 1 in division. If you know how to multiply and add, well then you can use this to check your answers. Just take the quotient, multiply it by the divisor, and add the remainder. If you get the dividend as the answer, then that means your answer is correct. Let's divide 1299 by 23.
1299 divided by 23 will give us 56 remainder 11. Now, let's try to check our answer using multiplication and addition. First, let's multiply 56 by 23. The product will be 1288. Next, we are going to add the remainder to the product. So, 1288 plus 11 will give us 1299. When we check the answer using multiplication and addition, we are able to get the dividend, which is 1299. That means our answer is correct. And for the last tip,
Tip number 2 in division. Another way to do division is to keep on subtracting the divisor from the dividend until you get the answer. Here is an example.
We have here 532 divided by 97. Now, we are going to subtract the divisor from the dividend until we reach a point where the answer is less than 97. Now, we only have 47 left. 47 is less than 97, so we can't subtract further. Now, let's count how many times we've subtracted 97 from 532. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 as our quotient, but since we still have 47 left, it will be our remainder. So, our answer will be 5 remainder 47.
You did great, kids! Now let's go back to our 3 questions earlier. We can multiply 3-digit numbers by following these steps. Step 1. Multiply the multiplicand by the ones place of the multiplier. Step 2. Multiply the multiplicand by the tens place of the multiplier. Step 3. Multiply the multiplicand by the hundreds place of the multiplier. Step 4. Lastly, we can now add the partial products. When in dividing numbers by a 2-digit divisor, these are the steps to follow. Step 1. We write the dividend inside the division symbol and the divisor on the left side outside the symbol. Step 2. Divide the first 2 terms by the divisor. If the numbers in the first 2 digits is less than the divisor, include the next digit before dividing the number by the divisor. Write the quotient on top aligned with the digit that you divided. Step 3. Multiply the quotient to the divisor, then subtract. Step 4. Bring down the next digit one at a time, then repeat steps 2 and 3 until you reach the last digit of the dividend. Step 5. Check the quotient using multiplication. These are the tips and hacks in multiplying 3-digit numbers easily. 1. Encircle the number that you have used already so you won't accidentally use them again. 2. Use the lattice method. 3. Break apart bigger numbers to make multiplication less difficult. While here are the tips and hacks in dividing 3-digit numbers easily. 1. Use multiplication and addition to check your answer. 2. Subtract the divisor from the dividend until you get the answer. Knowing how to perform multiplication and division allows us to work with numbers as used in daily life, such as applications on money and measurements and solving problems involving numbers. You're fantastic! I hope you learned a lot about multiplying and dividing numbers today. If you did, click thumbs up and share this video to help young learners like you to count, solve, and enjoy math. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Again, this is Teacher Tin, and see you on our next Numberful Wednesday.